Hey everybody, so I've just arrived. How's the conference been so far? How's the talks been? Good, good. All right. Yeah, my name is Max Sherwood from Ultimate in Berlin. We're a mobile wallet on Android, iOS, Ethereum, Solana, some L2s. I would describe myself as an enthusiast of many years, so back when crypto was just Bitcoin. Also an analyst and a validator. So at Ultimate, I'm a research and growth manager, which means I get to basically do what my hobby used to be full time. And I've also co-founded a validator company called H2O Nodes. So I know a bit about validators as well. So yeah, let's get straight into it. DEX trading, right? Swapping. New all-time highs, very exciting, but still like these are rookie numbers, right? Like 20% of the total volume is happening on DEXs and the rest is happening on centralized exchanges. So we got to pump those numbers up, right? When flippening, when's this going to get to 100, 200%? When are we going to have many times the centralized exchange volume happening on DEXs? Obviously not anytime soon, it seems, unfortunately. So, well, why do you care, right? Maybe you just hold your ETH, maybe you just stake your ETH. Well, I have news for you because of MEV and all those great things that we have now. DEX activity benefits stakers too, so you're getting, a variable APY that's basically just a chart. Excuse me. That's basically just a chart of like how much on-chain activity is happening, how much economic activity is happening. So every time there's like some big event that causes everybody to kind of reshuffle their portfolios and make a bunch of transactions, you do see stakers getting a lot more APY. Excuse me. Even if it's only for like 1 or 2 days. So, even if you're just staking your ETH, you should also want there to be a lot more DEX activity happening. So how do we get users into DeFi? How do we get people away from the centralized exchanges? I don't think I have to explain why this is important after the FTX stuff. So how do we get people into DeFi? Well, probably not with UIs like this. No hate to Curve, but this is not something that feels very compelling for most users. We think that mobile is the way that things have gone in TradFi. We've already seen this. Probably all of our fintech apps, all of our banking apps are already on our phones. But if I asked you, do you have a favorite mobile wallet? Probably you'd say no. So we're trying to build, a mobile-first wallet that is intuitive, feels as easy to use as any centralized exchange, but it's self-custody, it's DeFi, it's DEX swapping. But how do we monetize, right? So I was kind of naive when I started. I thought, wallet is just something that interacts with the blockchain. Should be pretty easy peasy to build a good wallet, right? A fast wallet, snappy. That's not the case. You need very talented back-end engineers and data people, and there's all kinds of caching going on and stuff. So you do need to pay some very good engineers to build this wallet that is going to feel snappy and feel as good as a TradFi app or a centralized exchange. So we are a venture-funded team of 30. We raised $5.5 million seed round, and then a $12.5 million Series A. So we have money in the bank, but we're burning through that. Eventually, we're going to have to monetize somehow, right? How do wallets monetize today? They just slap a fee on top of the swaps that they offer, but really that's a reason not to use a wallet, right? If you can just go to Curve and just connect and not have any added fees, you're probably going to do that rather than use a wallet that's just going to slap a big fee on top. So for example, MetaMask, they're putting a 0.875% fee on top, which is quite a lot in my opinion. And if you look at what Robinhood did, they removed all the hurdles, right? The question became, it wasn't why should I trade with Robinhood, it was why not, because it was free. So we're currently not adding any fees onto swaps. The question becomes, how do we monetize? Robinhood obviously changed the brokerage industry forever in TradFi with payment for order flow and basically monetizing the order flow that their users created on the platform. There are some other options. Maybe we could do subscriptions on a monthly basis. Coinbase just did this for their exchange where you can trade for free if you pay $20, $25 a month. I'm not a huge fan of that personally. There's also some kind of tipping mechanisms that might work, but really payment for order flow is, probably where we're going to end up. So let's unpack the big MEV, payment for order flow topic here. So Stefan from Flashbots wrote a piece in March called "The Order Flow Auction Design Space." And these are some screenshots from that blog article. And if you'll excuse me reading off the slide here, I'm just going to read this quote from Stefan. He says, "Order flow auctions promise to return users the value they create via their orders. We believe that this year will be the year of order flow auctions, and we expect significant competition happening between different order flow auction designs and their implementations in the next 6 months," right? So there's different kinds of order flow auctions. Technically, an RFQ, request for quote, is a type of order flow auction already. So 0x API is an example. But things are a bit more interesting with like exclusive batch auctions. So maybe you've heard of like cow swap, for example. And this is the middle point in the MEV supply chain, right? So the wallets are all the way on the left. The users have some intents to trade. They're gonna signal that intent through a wallet. That's gonna end up in an order flow auction where people are going to be bidding to basically make markets or provide liquidity for that. And then happens all the proposer builder stuff that we've kind of spent most of the time talking about in the last year and a half. I think we've spent a lot of time talking about the searchers and the builders and the relayers and the proposers, but we haven't really spent a lot of time talking about the beginning part of the MEV supply chain, which is where we're situated as a wallet. So when you look around, there's not really a lot of precedent for payment for order flow with wallets, because wallets don't really generate a lot of trade volume in their built-in swaps. So I don't remember exactly which Dune dashboard I found this in, but it was like less than 5% of Uniswap's volume coming from MetaMask's built-in swap feature, right? And MetaMask is by far the biggest one. So today, most DEX volume is still coming from the front ends. It's coming from APIs. So people are still interacting directly with DEXs or aggregators. They're not really trading through the wallet. As such, we haven't really seen much going on in the way of payment for order flow. Another piece of information that shows you how early we still are, aggregators are pretty high tech. They're pretty nice, but only about 20% of DEX volume is coming through aggregators today, which I found kind of surprising. And it's not really trending it's not really trending up either. So again, it just shows that people are still interacting with individual DEXs. They're not even necessarily trading through aggregators. I mentioned RFQ systems. So for example, 0x, they have this request for quote system where market makers can put in their own quotes, but less than 5% of 0x's volume comes from the RFQ system. So, it's still very early days. The question is now, like, will payment for order flow create centralization? I think for a wallet to succeed, it should profit with its users and not from its users. Two of the pieces that Quintus wrote from Flashbots, the first one was titled "A Warning: Order Flow Auctions and Centralization." So obviously, like, we want to avoid kind of this order flow dystopia, right? And Stefan has explained this circular chart where at the top, if you have exclusive private order flow and you're building higher blocks and you're consistently winning, those block building competitions, that kind of justifies the exclusive order flow, right? So basically, like, if you're a market maker and or a block builder, there are like positive effects that mean that one entity could end up dominating. Obviously, decentralization is good for Ethereum. We want open, diverse, competitive markets for aggregators and builders. And centralization is bad. We don't want the domination of large builders due to exclusive order flow. So not to pick on MetaMask, but Consensus has a lot of different products all the way across the MEV supply chain. So let's just spell out like what would be the worst case scenario. Well, let's say all the users are using MetaMask and they're already sending all of that to Infura. And let's say that Consensus starts to spin up their own builder and maybe even run their own validators and basically vertically integrate this whole supply chain. Are we even trading in a decentralized system anymore if this is kind of how the MEV supply chain ends up looking, where it's basically the same entity that just owns the entire order flow? I think that's what we want to avoid. So what happens next? We see aggregators like 1inch coming out with a mobile wallet. We see Uniswap coming out with a mobile wallet. So like we launched in 2021, and since then it's gotten a lot more competition. So what's going to happen next? Well, auction models will be tested. Wallets are launching and competing for market share. So the question now kind of becomes like, who will win the wallet wars and who should win the wallet wars, right? So if a wallet chooses to capture more value, then they can afford, more marketing, a bigger team, et cetera. If they choose to return more value to the users, then they might get more users and more volume. So this is kind of, who will win the wallet wars, which strategy will be the best going forward, we will see. But who should win the wallet wars? Obviously, I'm talking my own book here. Ultimate doesn't run a DEX or an aggregator or any other piece of the supply chain. Do we want wallets from DEXs or aggregators basically serving as their front ends and not really giving us a wide breadth of liquidity? Do we want block builders building wallets? There's some conflicts of interest here that might lead to some centralization, but time will tell. So yeah, I'm curious also to hear what you think about this, and it's not something that I've heard kind of discussed very much. But yes, in summary, the entire ETH economy benefits from increased DEX market share, so numbers should go up. DeFi needs fair markets and infrastructure, so basically unsophisticated traders need access to liquidity, they need protection from adversarial MEV. Wallets need a fair way to monetize their order flow. It does cost money to build and develop a great wallet. High fees on top of swaps are unacceptable. Payment for order flow auctions should protect against builder centralization. So yeah, let's see what the future brings, and very curious to hear your questions. So thank you.
Hi. Oh, whoa, that's loud. Sorry. Really interesting. How do you think about one step before your wallet? How do you get users to use your wallet? Users that might not be on chain just yet. Somebody that wants to understand what crypto is and wants to use a wallet. How do you capture that user, or is that not what you guys are focused on?
I mean, that's the long-term goal, is to build something that's like so easy to use that someone with no self-custody experience can just pick up the phone, launch the app, and they can figure out what to do. So onboarding is super important. One thing that we're doing, which is fairly controversial, is like we don't show you the seed phrase. You can go find it, but we don't show it to you. We do give you a checkbox to like back it up to Google Drive or iCloud encrypted, because we've read that like 95% of people are 2FA protected anyway on their iCloud accounts. So like that's a fairly controversial decision. Probably most of us like hardcore crypto people are like, why would I ever do that? That's terrible. We saw all this stuff with Ledger, right? I mean, it's opt-in, but it's like the target audience is people that have not used self-custody yet. So we kind of think about like an onion of like, there's probably people, their first experience is using like Coinbase or Robinhood and like trading crypto there, right? Even if it's like not actually crypto. And then there's the people that, maybe they use a centralized exchange like Binance, but they've never written down a seed phrase. And then there's the people that actually know self-custody and everything. And so right now we're focusing on traders, building a great DEX trading product to hopefully get, the people that are all here and we're still here after the bear market, like probably we're traders or, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Any other questions? Any MEV experts in the room that want to comment on any of this?